Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Andrea's Country Home Cooking. Tonight I'm making a one-dish wonder that has ground beef in it since we were kind of over the ham and the turkey since Thanksgiving was last week. So come step into my kitchen and let me walk you through this one-dish wonder. Okay, first we're going to start with a pack of ground beef. Now this is 2 pounds. I am doing a double batch of this because I'm going to put one in the freezer. So if you're just making one, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut this recipe in half. When we post the recipe, it'll just be for one pie. This is called country pie. This is something that I grew up with. Again, a lot of my recipes are family oriented, grew up with, loved it. So this meal is actually really special to me. I remember it when I was a little girl. And it's also in my cookbook, and I'm going to have to follow the instructions because I don't have it memorized. So we have 2 pounds of ground beef in the bowl. Next we are going to do tomato sauce. So I have a jar of tomato sauce right here, and it calls for half a cup. So since I'm making 2, I'm going to do double batch. So we're going to do 1 cup of sauce. Okay, now next we have onions. I already chopped up all the onions. Calls for 1/4 cup for 1 pie. So I did a half a cup of onions. This is pretty much to flavor your meat. I know like a lot of people don't like onions, especially like my kids and my husband. If they're cooked, you really can't taste them. The meat kind of just absorbs all these onions. So don't be freaked out. And if you want, you always can cut it down to like 1/8 of a cup. Just get a little bit of onion in there just for the flavor. So next what we're going to do is we're going to get the salt and the pepper. So it calls for 1/8 teaspoon of pepper. So I'm going to do 1/4. And you don't have to be exact. You can just sprinkle it in if you want. But you're not going to lie, I was kind of excited to use my new Pioneer Woman teaspoons that I got. They're glass, so I'm always really worried that I'm going to break them. Alright. Next we're going to do salt. That calls for 1 1/2 teaspoon. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 teaspoons of salt. Dump it right in here. You definitely don't want to leave the salt out because like the onion, this is really going to season your meat. And the meat is the best part of this dinner. I don't know, there's something magical that happens in the oven when you stir all this up and it bakes. It's absolutely delicious. So you're going to try to get this mixed up as much as you can. And I'm sad to say that you are going to have to use your hands when we form the pie shell, because there's really no getting around it. So stir it as much as you can with the wooden spoon to try to get it in there. But I think I'm going to have to get down and dirty. I'm going to have to use my hands for this. We're just going to put the spoon over here to the side. Okay. So let's bring our pie shells over here. So I have 1 glass pie dish. You want to make sure it's deeper because when this does bake, it can boil over. So usually what I'll do is I will put it on a cookie sheet when it bakes. And then for the freezer, I have an 8x8 foil tin pan. You can do it in an 8x8 square pan. It's just called country pie. So I usually put it in a pie dish. So my hands were washed. I washed right before I started. I'm going to mix all this good stuff around in here. It smells so good. This actually probably would make a really good burger. There's something about the sauce that just makes it so moist and juicy. It's delicious. Alright, so just kind of keep folding. And if you want, like if you have a bigger family, you're not sure if a pound will be enough, you could probably do 1.5 pounds. I've done that before and I've put it in like just a bigger dish. Even if you're having like 10, 12 people, you could just do like a 9x12 dish and put it in there too. You're just going to have to bake it a little bit longer. So, okay. So what I'm going to do is flatten this down. I'm going to get my spoon and I'm just going to make a line so we kind of can judge that it's a pound and a pound. Okay. So we're going to put 1 in here. So there's 1 pound. And then here's the other pound. I couldn't pass up, being I had extra ingredients, I couldn't pass up making 2 of these. This makes a great freezer meal. For anybody that's sick, anybody you're taking food to, whether they had a baby, or they're celebrating something, these are great to have extra in your freezer, handy. So I was like, you know what, Christmas is around the corner, it's gonna get super busy, let's just whip up 2 of them. So what I'm doing now is I'm kind of pushing the sides up so it makes like a shell, because when you cut into them, you want to have the extra meat up on the sides. So kind of press it down real good because you're going to put a filling in the middle, so you want a lot of room. So there's the one for the freezer. And then here's the one for dinner tonight. Just try to get the sides up as best as you can. All right, it looks delicious. And there is our pie dish. So we're going to put these off to the side over here till we're done. Okay, next we're going to work on our filling. But first I got to wipe my hands off. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to use the same bowl for the filling because your rice is going in there anyway. So it's not a big deal if it's like contaminated with the meat because it's all baking together. Okay, now we're going to start on the filling. So we're going to start with rice first. I just got a box of white instant rice, and it calls for 1 1/3 cups. So we're going to do 2 cups for 2 batches. 1. And definitely use the instant. Don't use the ready in like 15 minutes stuff because it probably won't cook as nice. All right. Okay, so I guess I gotta add another 1/3 to 1/3. So there's 1, 2. All right. Now next we are gonna do more tomato sauce. So we are gonna do 1.5 cups of sauce. Because I'm sorry, I don't have this, you would think as much as I make this, I would have this memorized, but I don't. So 1.5 cups. So sadly, when I was going to only make 1, I knew I had enough sauce. But I had to go downstairs in my wine cellar. I make homemade sauce with my mom, so I have all these jars down there. And I don't typically use my homemade sauce because this is like liquid gold. And for country pie, it doesn't really matter what sauce you use because you can't really taste the sauce. The meat and the rice will absorb all this. But it doesn't matter. I'll probably give it like a nice flavor anyway. Okay, so we got to do 1 more cup of sauce. All right. Now, next we have a cup of water. Now let me show you my trick. This is usually what I do. If you have a jar that you're going to use, which like I said, I usually just use a jar of sauce for 1 batch. I dump my water into my tomato jar. Put your lid on. Shake it up real good, rinses your jar out, and you get all the extra sauce out of your jar. So then you just dump that right into your bowl. Okay. Now, I'm going to give it a quick little stir, get it all mixed up, and then next we are going to add seasonings and we're going to add cheese. So the cheese, I already shredded. It's not bagged. This is extra sharp Cabot. Calls for 1 cup. We're going to throw in 1, 2, and because we really like cheese, a little scoop doesn't hurt. And then it calls for a teaspoon of salt. Get our teaspoon out, some salt in there, dump that on. And our filling is ready. It's that easy. I'm going to mix it up real good. Now when you fill this up, just be careful it doesn't go over. As I said, when it does bake, it can boil over. So make sure you definitely use a deep dish for this recipe. Because I don't want you guys to be all mad because you're getting your oven all dirty, because it can make a mess. So just in case, just put a cookie sheet down underneath your pie dish. Alright, looks like it's good and mixed up. So we're going to get our pie shell. I'm going to fill this first because I'm having this tonight. Make sure it's nice and flat. And we're going to split this filling right in half. Just dump it right into the center of your pie shell. Okay, let's see how that is. It looks like we can add a little bit more. right, that's probably perfect. All right, there's our one pie shell, and this one for the freezer we can put in. Usually what I do, I make a salad with this and serve it with a side of bread. It's delicious. It's a one dish wonder. You really don't have to, but I always feel like it's really good to have like a vegetable with your supper. So there you have it. Now my oven is preheated to 350, and you do want to cover this with foil because you want the meat to get evenly cooked. So we're going to cover this with foil, and then we're going to bake it for 1 hour. After the 1 hour, you're going to take it out, you're going to take the foil off the top, and then I'm going to top it with all this extra cheese, melt the cheese on top, and then it's completely done. And then you have the second dish, put foil over top of it, put it in your freezer, it can last up to a couple months, pull it out, unthaw it, also bake it at 350 for 1 hour. And we're going to make a dessert to go along with this. It's so simple, it's one of my kids' favorites. You not only can make it for dinner, you can make it for breakfast too. So we will send the link to you guys underneath the YouTube video to go to the next video for a delicious dessert to pair with this dinner. So like and subscribe. Thank you for joining me tonight, and I hope that you guys like and try this dinner. Have a great day.